once again. Today we find ourselves back at the BiTec Centre. No, it's not a car show today. It's a computer expo. Lots of computer bits and pieces. Anyway, so tag along with us, and we'll have a look at what's available in the whole idea of computing here in Thailand. It's one of those sort of things that comes up in a lot of conversation. Me being a bit of a computer geek, gamer and all that sort of stuff. I ask lots of questions about, computers, price of computers, and what they should be doing about their current equipment, should they bring it across, and so on and so forth. So I thought, well, let's talk about that today and see what we can sort of see in the way of different computers and some pricing as well. Well, there's definitely a lot of people around here compared to the car show. Lots of pretty glowing TV screens, and now that's what we're doing with washing machines at a computer set. Oh my God. I don't know, maybe they think it's just got a computer in it or something. Anyway, so I'm just walking down the centre here now just to get a bit of give them the bearings. See what's on the gaming gear. I know a lot of people want to know about gaming gear, so we always get some lovely pretties as well here, so I'm sure we'll see a few pretties on our way. I am looking to actually pick up one thing. I know the price of the 2 terabyte hard drives that I usually use for backups. They're about 2,300 baht in the shops. Hopefully we're going to pick up a bit of bargain on that one. Yes, this is the last day of the show, and again the videos will be out after the case. But again, it's just one thing I'm pointing out here is these shows, they tend to be sort of quite put on quite often, and depending on when you're turning up into Thailand, there's usually one fairly close around the corner, depending on what you're looking for. So IT City is one of the most popular retail stores you'll find in most of the malls these days. It's where I've been buying my stuff. So I might just start here first. I get a feeling that IT City are probably one of the major sponsors of the event. I'm looking for the not Western Digital, I'm looking for the Seagate hard drive stand. So let's make our beeline for there first. That's what I'm looking for, the 2 terabyte Seagate 1750. So it's actually, not a bad idea coming out to see this one. Okay, so that's the important business out of the way. Now I get to look around and I don't have to worry about what I need to buy because I've already bought it. And it said 1750 on the shelf there with the type. I actually ended up paying 16.90. I think it's because it's last day and they're just trying to get rid of the stock. Not complaining. That's about, well, effectively 1,000 baht off from the prices I was seeing, I think, 2 months ago. Although the price of those things does come down, over time anyway. I'm not really complaining. I suppose the first part of the discussion I'll start with is the whole idea of the computers here in Thailand. It's actually part of a discussion I was having this morning with Cody. Well, it might have been last night or this morning, I can't remember. But we're talking about, bringing computers, from your home country, and where we are here in Thailand with the whole IT take-up. As you can see here, this little hall here, this is all set up just for financing your purchase, because again, the average Thai family, they simply can't afford a computer, worth 50 or 60,000 baht. We might think of it as just small pickings, but it's a big deal when, when the average income of the Thai family is, probably, no more than 30,000 baht. That's 2 months' wages to buy a computer. Whereas, in Australia, it's you get the idea. Okay, so the entry level workers may not be able to afford one straight off the bat. and of course we've got a ready access to credit. So that's one of those sort of things that we get to deal with. But credit's just not as freely available here on the credit card sort of side of things. So they really sort of cater for the what do you call it, the item hire purchase or commercial hire purchase style of buying. And for the Thais, it's fairly easy. And don't forget, there will be a lot of repossession rates for people turning around and not paying it off. But anyway, so that's part of what we have to deal with here. If you're coming to Thailand, of course, I think we've said this before, foreigners, especially expats without a work visa, very invariably will not be able to get finance for a computer system. So you're going to have to think about that side of the equation as well when you're coming out here. Now that's a pretty serious sort of drone camera setup. Well, no, most that one a DJI. I'm actually afraid to look at the price tag. 450,000 baht for that thing, would you believe it? Oh my God. Again, we've talked about this before on other videos when we've talked about the IT stuff. You do need a license to fly a drone here in Thailand. So it's one of those things to definitely keep in mind, and that license can take quite a while to come through. And we definitely get some pretty girls here. What the AMD Radeon stand. Okay, so let's start with the questions that I've had fired up me. Should you bring your own computer from where you live? Well, that's going to come down to what your baggage allowance is and how much the extra shipping cost will be. If you're coming from a 110 volt supply country, you've got to make sure that you've got the right power supplies in them. Otherwise, you'll be doing some roadside repairs very quickly when you try to plug it in. The voltage system here in Thailand is 240 volts, so you'll definitely need a switch mode power supply in your computer, which invariably does come standard, but you just can't really guarantee it unless, of course, you look at the back and even get a sparker to make that decision for you. I might actually use Acer as a bit of a sort of a jump-off point here, giving an idea of the desktops and laptop PCs, because it's a fairly universal brand. Trying to find the right fit is going to be, the biggest problem. This one here, the Predator Orion 5000. Now that's a gaming rig. 74,000, 84,000. What are we looking at there? 9th generation Intel Core. It's running the GeForce RTX 2080 card, so it's the top of the line card there for the 84,000. 32 gig of RAM. It's got a 512 gig SSD primary drive with a secondary 1 terabyte spindle drive. You may be able to do better in your home country to buy that. Whether you actually have to pay duty on the way back in, that's again another thing. But the biggest thing people forget is when you're buying something overseas and then bringing it over here, is your warranty going to work? And that's going to be a real stickler, because you don't want to spend maybe 60,000 baht to put a rig together in your home country, get it over here, and then find that it's just completely useless because it breaks down and you're going to be paying through the nose to get it fixed. I've always said that if you're really not into building your own computers and knowing what you're doing, sticking to brand names is always my recommendation. Acer, they have a good reputation for support and service here in Thailand. So does Dell. Intel are making the internal parts, but Dell is a very popular brand. Now, I was a very anti-Dell person 15 years ago, but after working with Dell, in the corporate field I think we took on Dell about 8 years ago in our office, and they really looked after us. I don't know how well it works for the home market here. The feedback I've had generally from people I've talked to, they've been quite happy with the support and service. So something to think about. Asus, don't get the two brands mixed up. Asus has been around for quite a while, but they're more, I think they're more component level. Yes, they do have their laptop range, but they're sort of a brand that you might think about adding components into. They really only specialise, I think, as a rebadged laptop. I'm not quite sure who's actually making the Asus laptops, but interesting how they got the Asus and Acer on the same stand. Again, trying to get people in on a name they know, to sell a name they don't know, because people really don't know that they're two different companies. What else can we talk about? Kmart, that's another fairly popular brand or retail store outlet as well. They will build computers to spec. I think the best way to actually do the pricing model, like I said, I think Kmart and IT City, they do have an online presentation, and you can check out their pricing online and then look at the specs there. You will need a good translator on your PC or whatever you're browsing with, because they are catering for a Thai market, and you need to know what you're buying. But other than that, there's also some other online retailers like Banggood. There's also, what's the other one? Lazada. Both of those are online retailers they're like the Amazons of Thailand. Amazon doesn't have a presence here yet, although I believe that's coming up as they're expanding what they call the Eastern Corridor to Cambodia. I believe that Amazon is vying for exposure more now in that sort of in this sort of marketplace. They will probably have some fairly serious caveats to abide by, but Amazon, they like to be the leader in the world of the online retailing. But of course they're going to hit a sort of fairly sort of staunch market here that's fairly well established already. So yes, I think like bringing your own computer, if it's your baby and you've had a lot of good support out of it and a lot of good use, and it's still a viable system, yeah, you can definitely consider bringing it across. I didn't have to pay any tax on my laptop when I brought it here, but you may find, putting a sort of desktop system into transport, depending on how you're coming over, you might find that you get hit with an import duty tax, because it is taxable equipment. There is a certain limit you can come into the country on. So I think there's certain values and limits you're allowed to bring into the country tax-free. But yeah, they're just trying to cover their local markets as we've talked about before. Personally, I was to say, if you're coming out here and intending to live here, I would be leaving your old PC at home, giving it to your grandkids or your family or somebody or other else. Just wipe the system, reload it, get all your porn off it, you know what I mean, and give it to them as a gift and buy something new. Computers really, in my books, anything older than 3 years, it's just not worth bringing. The technology increases in capacity and power every 18 months. Moore's law might be dead, but the whole processing side of things and where we are with the technology is still increasing at an exponential rate. So anything older than 3 years is just really not worth bringing over to start with. Pricing wise, I do think that we're paying a good dollar or a good baht, for a brand. The computer I built nearly 3 years ago, that cost me 60,000 baht to put together. mind you, it's still a fairly valid computer. It still does all the things I wanted to do. I am now considering the latest GTX model graphics cards just to get a little bit more out of the gaming experience. If you're not a gamer, then it probably wouldn't really matter that much. Now we're in the JIB main stand. It looks like they've got about 4 stands around the thing, so I'm guessing it's another major promoter of the event. Again, you'll find these in pretty much every major store, major mall around Bangkok. As you get out of the main city, I don't know how we pan out for availability and those sort of things. But again, it's another manufacturer who will build, in a range of different cases. You buy the parts and they will actually build it for you. Yeah, IT City, as I said, we did a build to order with mine, but JIB I think have a better sort of presence for being known to build to order. IT City are really sort of more focused these days on the brand names. They carry a small amount of components for build your own, but ultimately it's not their major focus. I've just had a lot of good support of them, so I'll give them a bit of a plug. One other major retailer, the sort of things you'll find in the malls is Banana IT. I've not actually bought anything from Banana IT up to this point. Every time I go into Banana IT at the mall, I always seem to get what I want at IT City, and they're my second preference if IT City can't help me out. So that's just been my experience. It depends again where you find yourself located. You might find the staff at Banana IT are going to really help you out. Somebody was asking me the other day about Panted Plaza. Like 10 years ago, Panted Plaza was the place to go to get anything IT related. But 10 years ago, we didn't have anywhere near the amount of malls around the place. The centre of Bangkok was one place, but when you got out to the outskirts of the city, malls were only just starting to be built. As malls were sort of starting to decline in the States, and the same in Australia, they're finding new footholds here in Thailand, because generally, that's the way it is here in Thailand. They're a little bit behind the curve. With the whole way things work, and they're probably going to fall down the same traps as everybody else when the proverbial hits the fan. Anyway, so it's really going to come down to you're going to be a gamer or you're just going to be using the computer for just general work. Again, I think if you're going to be doing the whole vlogging thing, which is something that a lot of expats seem to end up doing over here. Got a lot of time on their hands. Well, you're going to need something very much like a gaming rig when you're going to do that. If you want to really be able to sort of encode and cut those videos and get them uploaded in a short amount of time. People with old computers will just find that the software really is challenged to get that performance curve going. But again, if you've got one of these shows coming up in your area, then you can definitely get some. It looks like I've been looking at the prices. Although prices are really relevant for the day, so there's no real point in me sort of giving you, exact numbers for prices, because they'll be changing tomorrow anyway. But people ask me about cooling. Should you be building a water-cooled or a fluid-cooled system? Well, I've got a normal air-aspirated vehicle in my room. It has a fairly decent sort of what they call cooling rig on the CPU, which was something we added after we had all the problems with it when we first built it. But it's really done itself quite well ever since we did those last modifications. If you're running the computer in a non-air conditioned room, well, you are going to be pushing the top end limits of the what they call the safe zone in your computer. So that's another thing to remember. Another thing is the power supplies here in Thailand, the power feed, that's the stuff that you pay the money, for reliability. It's one of those two things. I will get brownouts probably once every 2 days in my house. So I do have a UPS. If you don't know what a UPS, it's an uninterruptible power supplier. I paid for a decent model, and it was about 4,000 baht for that one to cover the capacity of the computer drawer and a few other bits and pieces on the desk as well. So it's something to consider. It's a cost that most people don't think about because they're coming from Australia maybe, and we really don't have those sort of power-related problems. But as I said, I will hear my UPS go off probably once every 2 days. But it only goes out for maybe sort of 30 seconds, not even 30 seconds, maybe 5 seconds, you just hear it, beep, beep. 5 seconds later it's recovered. So it's only just been a sort of a short burst brownout, but those sort of things can kill computers, so it's another thing to think about. I think I've just about sort of given all the sort of tips that I can come up with, apart from the fact that if you are coming out here and you are concerned, I do make myself available for people. There is no cost involved. Yeah, sure, I'd love you to buy me dinner or whatever, but if I've given you some value, then dinner's always a good way to even the thing out. But it's never been a requirement. It's never been sort of something I insist upon. The people I've helped so far have been more than happy to do it, which I'm very thankful for. It's all about building community, building friendships, building people up. Anyway, but yeah, so getting to the end of the video here, while I'll actually have a closer look at bits and pieces, because I've been more concerned about making the video. As you've sort of seen around, it's very, very busy. There's a little bit of eye candy here, but when you're a computer geek like me, I think the price tags and the screens and the brands, they seem to be more interesting than the girls. The girls are everywhere. Yeah, so in closing, if you are coming out here and you need to be getting yourself set up with a computer for whatever reason, hit me up. Look, I'm easily contactable on Facebook. Once we've sort of hooked up on Facebook, my preferred method of communication is with Facebook Messenger, because it's available pretty much to everybody. I do have a Line account. I do have my Discord channel. The Discord channel is more of people who are gamers and they like their gaming sort of stuff. I do have a Discord channel. The link to that you'll find is on the live stream videos I've done in the past. You're free to sort of click that link and join us on Discord. I'm there most of the time, but most of the time when I'm playing games, I'm actually on a different Discord channel because my friends also have Discord channels as well, and it's depending on who you're playing with. But that's another story altogether. I don't want to bore you with that sort of stuff. If you know Discord, you know what it's all about. I don't use Line that much. I'm also available on email. But the point I'm getting at here is the fact that if you're coming out here and you need some assistance, I'm only too happy to sort of tag along as your wingman, help you get set up and buy the right gear. Right, that's a good starting point. Finding the right gear to do the right job. But I've done computers for 35 years. There's pretty much, even though I'm not in the field now, there's pretty much nothing I don't know about computers and how they work and what's best for you. So, as I said, get in touch and we'll see what we can do for you. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up here. I need to find some cute girls to get a thumbnail image with, Once I got that done, I'll probably make my way out of here. Anyway guys, so if this video has been helpful and informative, hit that like button. And again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Love to hear your comments, so just ask questions. I tend not to answer too many technical questions on the comments. I'd rather sort of get a little bit more offline and personal. It's more about that personal touch as part of the way I operate the channel. Yeah, if you've got friends coming over, I'm sure they might find this video helpful and insightful, so send the link along to them so that they know I'm here for them as well. Anyway guys, I'll cop you later. Bye for now.